All right. I had a bit of data to share here, Ross. Do you fancy talking through this?
Absolutely, go for it.
I found this quite interesting. So I'll credit MyGolfSpy for this. Title is You're Playing Par 3s Wrong. Here's what the data says to do instead. And I found this really interesting, actually. Do you know that across the handicap spectrum, we kind of expect par 3s to be, easy holes. They're the short holes. We're going to get a par here, go in for the par 3, get your 3, maybe even a 2 actually, get your birdie here. But the data actually shows that even at a scratch handicap and right up to the high, obviously, like nobody is averaging par on a par 3. Does that surprise you, or would you have expected that?
Not really. I mean, because you've effectively only got one shot to make it. Mm-hmm. Whereas a par 4, you hit a bad drive, you've got a recovery shot. Par 5 as well.
Yeah, you can make it back up. Yeah, totally. Well, so the thing is, the thing that they were digging out here in terms of the data was that there's something around playing par 3s a lot shorter than you expect, because the data shows that, this is coming from Arcos, I think. Those Arcos little things you stick in the back of the clubs and they track data, so they shared this with them, which is really cool actually. The most likely outcome of a par 3 is that not most likely, but at scratch and better, you're 60% likely to actually hit the green. So 60%, that's a pretty decent pretty decent rate there. 20% likely to go short, and only 7% likely to fly the green, to go over the back. Whereas you go up to 1 to 9, suddenly it's up to 26% to go short, 50% to hit the green, and only 8% to go over the back. And you go up to 10 to 19, 35% go short, and 20 to 28, 42% go short, and only 35% hit the green. So throughout that whole thing, it's very, very rare for people to actually fly the green, people to go over. So there was something around, like they're digging out this data and saying, try and actually go a bit further, because actually the most of the data shows that people account for a par 3. You look at the yardage and you think, right, it's 140 yards. Normally that's my 9-iron. But the thing is, your 9-iron, 140 yards is probably most likely like your good 9-iron. It's when you strike it really well, you hit a really nice shot, and most likely you're probably not going to hit quite as sweet. How likely is it you get that every single time? So most likely it's actually better to go up a club or hit it, account for going an extra 5 or 10 yards and maybe go towards the back of the green at the very least, as opposed to the data showing that often people are coming off the front of the green instead. So it's something around, like, people with a par 3 particularly always planning for their best shots, always planning for their ideal shot, as opposed to the probably far more likely slightly mishit, even if it's on target. Does that resonate at all?
Absolutely resonates. I mean, I do it myself plenty of times, so I think part of it, ironically, with par 3 is you feel like you don't want to go over the back. A lot of times you think, I'm gonna hit the perfect shot. I've got this one opportunity to get one close, and that's the sort of mindset. Whereas, to your point, if you just make sure you're taking the right club and getting it there, it doesn't surprise me that people finish short. I think that's something many of us do. And if you reflect back in rounds, how many times do you really go over the back unless it's really hard and bouncy? It's kind of unlikely, actually. Yeah, for sure. I know, I suppose, every now and again you might flush it and go over the back a little bit. And you suppose you have to account for the hole, don't you? Like, if there's a hole with someone really nasty over the back, then, but I don't know, more likely actually the nasty stuff's in front, isn't it? Like, so many par 3s are protected by a bunker in the front, or a bit of water, or just like some nasty rough or something like that. So I mentioned, I think it was in the last episode, we talked about James Braid courses, and honestly, if you play most James Braid courses I've played, the trouble is at the front. It's usually a couple of bunkers, some kind of feature that's putting you off at the front, and actually there's not usually a lot of trouble over the back. Yeah, it's true in most of those James Braid courses I've played. So I think we're invariably tuned to try and hit as you say, the perfect shot and get it bouncing at the front of the green up to the hole. Whereas if you just get it to the green, like actually get it to the middle, you get a much better chance of being in a good place. Yeah.
Are you aware of your average carry as opposed to your best carry?
I'm not as, what's the word, disciplined on them as I should be. That's the absolute reality. A lot of times there is a feel component, so like coming to a par, or any shot actually, but especially a par 3, And the one that's in my mind at the moment is the 8th hole at my course.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 189 par 3, usually plays into the wind, and the green sits at 45 degrees of an angle from the tee. Where you don't want to finish is short most times. But ironically, I tend to think just get it over that trouble, because if you do go long, and you can go long, it can take quite a hard bounce because it's on the green and the greens are pretty firm.
Mm.
But if you're playing into the wind, like, how often is that going to happen? So I'm normally hitting like a 6-iron in there. If it's slightly into the wind, if it's a stronger wind, I'm hitting 5-iron. And then downwind, I'll probably hit 7. And a 7 will just carry probably 3 yards onto the green. So it'll carry about 175 and roll out. But yeah, definitely not as on it as I should be with that. And the irony is, you've got like your TrackMan that you can go to, you can do it at the range.
It's easy to do. Yeah.
I've done it. I've done a gapping session a few years back, and it's something I need to do again. You can do it on a TrackMan Bay on your own, but I did it with a pro. Yeah. And I actually wrote down, he did a little printout of all my yardages, all the averages. See, it's something I should get again. It's worth doing.
Yeah, I'm guilty of a couple of things here. One of which is I kind of forget the fact that there's difference between carry and full distance. So I'm like, shooting towards a green and thinking, my normal kind of full distance on a 7-iron is maybe 160, 65. Not accounting for the fact that it's actually going to land at like 150, 155 and then roll to that. And therefore I land in the bunker right ahead because I've been trying to hit a green that's like the pin's quite tight to the front or something like that. Yeah. And the other is, what's the other? I had it in my head there, forgotten now. It'll come back to me. But yeah, the distance is, I don't know, it changes as well. Like I've found as well, because I've been doing so much kind of changing my swing and trying to improve things, like my distances are changing quite a bit as well. And it's,
of course they will,
not much. Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict in many ways. But,
and the thing is, it could be, although you're improving and you are improving, that can be inconsistent as well. I was in a TrackMan Bay the other day and I was hitting like 8-iron, and pretty consistently, I'd say every shot was going 163 to 167.
Yeah.
And the difference I found was I pulled a couple of shots and they would carry 175.
Okay, yeah.
So I think there's that thing as well where we're all trying to be perfect, but actually if you pull it a little bit, it's going to go further. And if you cut it a little bit, it's going to go shorter. So going with the averages, as you say, is the thing to do, rather than thinking, my best shot's going to do this.
Totally. One of the bits of advice they had in the article was the other thing. So use your average carry, not your best carry, but also, when you're in a little bit of doubt, or even just any time because of the kind of what the stats show, take one more club and hit it at 80%. Like actually take a kind of slightly more controlled shot. Do you find that works? Like I've never tried something. I've never really thought about that as a technique.
Yeah, especially when you're coming back to like playing in the wind when you're at MyGolfSpy. I think I mentioned a few episodes ago, I'd worked with a coach probably 20 years ago, and I was terrible in the wind, honestly. And he got me to just grip down the club, move the ball maybe an inch or two back and swing normally. So very, very relaxed, and it comes out nice and low and goes almost the same distance. So there's something there that you think it's an 80% shot, but actually by going down the grip, potentially taking a club extra, you can hit the ball pretty much the same distance because you keep the ball flight down. So it's definitely something worth thinking about too.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, and I just thought it was quite interesting. I think I've fallen into that trap thinking, here's a nice easy one, a par 3, I'll get it on the green, I'll get it in, and to get a nice par here, something that's not that usual for me. Whereas with the long holes, I'll be more likely to slice the ball off into the trees or something. I feel like there's more can go wrong, but you're absolutely right, there's more can go right as well, as in there's more to recover as you're going. So it's a funny one.
I mean, there's the par 3s. I don't want to make it sound like we're playing at Sawgrass where I play, but the par 3s they're pretty strong where I play. So the easiest one would be 17, that's 150. Plays on a bit of crosswind, but the green slopes towards you, so there's a good bit of help there. Even if you do hit it quite hard, the green's sloping towards you, so it'll slow the ball down. Second hole is 180. Plays again into a crosswind, and there's a massive bunker that's like a circle in the middle of effectively the middle of the fairway. So generally okay for me. I've only been in it a couple of times when I've hit a crap shot. But for people I'm playing with, if they're not hitting the ball, you know, as far, and to your point, not taking enough club, I see so many guys standing that tee, and I can be standing there with a 5-iron, and I had a decent distance, and they're standing with an iron. I'm like, no way are you getting this over the bunker. So they should be probably at least rescue, probably a 3-wood, potentially driver.
Really?
And I just don't see them doing it, and they're invariably in the bunker. And then the other one I'd say is a really, really tough par 3 is the 12th hole. It's 195 yards for the very back tee, and we play the back tees quite often actually, so the full championship tees. And the water carry on that hole's probably 170. So you're standing there, it's 195, and that's the one that's usually into the wind.
Yeah.
So I'll be hitting 4 or 5-iron. If it's a 5-iron, I'm really trying to smash it low. It's a tough shot. And I'll see guys standing there with an iron or a hybrid, and I'm like, you've got no chance of covering this. No chance. And the crazy thing is, they could play it up, ironically, the par 5 I was just talking about, the 14th. So you've got the water, and it runs to, like, you would say the right edge of the green if you look in terms of line.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's like 70 yards of fairway on the 14th.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, if I was playing that hole and I didn't have the carry, you know, to carry at 170 into the wind is a really good hit for a lot of golfers. I just stand there and hit anything right at that water and chip on.
Yeah, yeah.
I see it so often when I'm playing with guys in competitions, and you know, I'm on the tee thinking this is going to take a really good shot to get anywhere close to this green, and they're struggling to get the carry, but they still go at the green. I'm like, just why are you not hitting it down there and taking an 80-yard pitch in? You're probably guaranteeing a 4.
Yeah, totally.
And if you coming back to the Scott Fawcett things on the averages, you're probably gaining strokes on the field, especially around your peers.
Aye.
If you're just getting it in a 4, you're probably picking up half a shot or a shot on some people that day.
The smart shot, eh? The smart shot. Yeah, there's a couple of holes on. There's one hole on my course which is a par 3 technically, but from the medals it's 205 yards. So it's a long par 3, but it's downhill as well. So it drops maybe 20 yards, 30 yards. It's like it's a fair downhill, and there's 2 water hazards in front. So there's 2 burns across it.
Nice.
Maybe one at maybe 120, 30. So you're safe relatively well from that. But the other one is like right before the green, but it kind of diagonally comes towards you. So on the right of it, there's a fair chunk of grass, of fairway-ish, which is, you know, maybe 160 to 200. But if you aim at the green, the water is like right before it. So the smart shot is always to hit it just right and pitch on. I just haven't figured out yet at all. I generally aim to the right, but it's the drop is also just really quite deceiving as well, because I can hit a 6-iron and still carry that, like go over 200 yards, and there's no way my 6-iron goes that far. So it's like it's a lot further than you think. So I've got down to actually trying to hit a 7-iron onto this this bit of fairway to the right of the green and pitch on, and that's kind of how I'm attacking it just now. But yeah, it's definitely a strategic one rather than going for the green. Even though I think I could reach the green, I could reach it with my 6 or my 5, but it's just not worth it.
But the thing is, if you take 4 there every single time, again, versus your handicap and versus the people you're playing with in the competitions broadly, you're probably picking up strokes.
Aye, for sure. But I've taken many a 6 there because I've aimed at the green and either been in the water or off to the trees to the left or the right or whatever. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.